Hi, this is Anime Short and Sweet. Welcome to my channel. Today we will be covering Season 1 of the anime Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun. The story begins with Iruma Suzuki, a boy who was sold to a demon by his greedy parents for a quick cash grab. Despite only being 14, he has learned to overcome many obstacles to support him and his family who refuse to work. Iruma is later captured by a demon named Sullivan, whom he was sold to as a young child and taken to the netherworld. Here he finds Sullivan just wants a grandson who he can spoil and spend time with. As Iruma is a pushover who has never denied a request, he ultimately accepts and becomes a demon's grandson. While being with Sullivan, he has been granted food, clothes, a room and has been enrolled into the most elite demon school Bobolus in the netherworld. Since Iruma had to support his family when he was a child, he has not gotten the luxury of attending school. Despite being excited, he is a human in the netherworld and is afraid of what would become of him if his fellow classmates found out he was not a demon. During the school's welcome ceremony, Iruma tries with his best efforts to not stand out. Unfortunately, his grandpa is the head chairman and had other ideas, and puts him on the spot by taking Asmodeus' speech. Shocking everyone with a forbidden spell, he is granted the ability to never trip for the rest of the day. The head of the class, Asmodeus, infuriated since he was supposed to give the school greeting, takes his frustrations out on Iruma by casting many spells at him. However, since Iruma is skilled with agility from his dangerous upbringing, he dodges anything Asmodeus throws at him. As he cannot hit a single hit with his fireballs, he resorts to using martial arts, which ultimately fails as Iruma uses his weapon against him. Doing so, he pushes Asmodeus to a fellow student. Realizing what he has done, he quickly reacts and grabs Asmodeus with the help of the forbidden spell he casted earlier that day. It stops the fall and saves the student from harm. By the end of the day, Iruma became the headline of the school paper, and Asmodeus pledges his allegiance to Iruma, as in demon law the defeated demon must serve whoever is victorious. After joining the school, first years get the chance to summon their very own familiars. While students are waiting to be selected by Caligo, they wait to do a ritual to summon so they can get their own magical beasts. Many from his year are summoning very strong beasts such as the Gorgon snake Asmodeus has summoned. Since Iruma is not a demon, he is unable to summon a magical beast. However, since the familiar ritual uses the same steps as the human and demon pact, he can only summon a demon. That demon being, in fact, one of the teachers Nabirius Caligo. Lord Sullivan is enthusiastic. His own grandson is the first to summon a demon, but reminds both Caligo and Iruma that if this blood pact is broken before the year contract, both the master and summoned familiar will result in a fatal end. This news brings Iruma back into the spotlight of the newspaper. As he goes to get his textbooks, he runs into a demon called Clara, who is known to be highly odd, among other demons. Clara asks Iruma to play with her, and his refusal to say no leads them to hang out and play together. Clara reveals her bloodline ability, which allows her to summon anything she sees. She is often teased and tricked into using those abilities in order to play games. She overhears a group of demons who often use her abilities to their advantage wonder why Iruma still hangs out with her and says it has to do with her bloodline ability. In fear of not wanting to lose the first person who actually played games with her, she tries to bribe Iruma with gifts, but he refuses, which makes Clara heartbroken until he revealed he didn't need those things to have fun playing with her. She ultimately becomes friends with Asmodeus and Iruma. The next time the other students try to manipulate her for drinks, Clara grants their request by giving them a vending machine full of drinks. The following day, Asmodeus reveals lunches are based on ranks and get better the higher you are. To try and respect Iruma's wishes to not stand out, his grandpa puts him in the Misfits class, in hopes the other demons stand out far more than Iruma does. To find the class, Iruma, Asmodeus, and Clara are being guided by an arrow, which leads them through and down to their worn-down classroom laid out with traps set by his fellow classmates, which he effortlessly dodges thanks to his evasive ability. The ranks will be decided with the familiar summoning and flying test that Caligo is teaching. As the test goes on, it is revealed that Iruma's blood has a healing ability to demons. He heals the injured demon bird, who thanks him and flies him to his father, known as the Guardian of the Cutthroat Valley. Iruma saves Sabnok and demonstrates compassion towards beasts. Many other students finish the race at the same time. Professor Caligo is about to end the test when in the distance he sees Iruma and Sabnok riding the Guardian. Since they came in last, they sit and endure mockery from fellow classmates and tiny rocks being thrown at them by Clara. They begin receiving their own rank by a badge in the pouch of an owl. When trying to receive his own rank, Iruma frightens the owl and acquires the ring of gluttony instead of a badge. His classmates stand in shock as the next demon king is said to also have a golden ring of Solomon on his right hand. The Black Mist demon appears from the ring, shouting and sucking mana from nearby students. Professor Caligo begins to sense the ring threatening him and begins to attempt to sever Iruma's arm, but is stopped and scolded by Lord Sullivan. Sullivan explains the gluttonous ring feeds on the mana of others. As soon as it feeds on the demon's powers, it sends the demon back into the ring. By the end of the test his rank is undetermined, and he receives the lowest rank known as Aleph. The following morning Iruma receives and arrives at school with a chariot from his grandpa. The knowledge about the ring spreads and increases his fame. During class, Professor Suzy begins to teach magic spells which allows students to bring forth the flower they imagine. Iruma is worried, since he has no mana, he will be caught by the upper-class men who are watching him, so he has to at least try to summon a plant. To his surprise he uses his right hand that is equipped with his newly acquired ring with all the chair demon's powers he remembers back to when he was in Japan, resulting in the ring releasing immense mana producing a massive cherry blossom tree. Student Council President Omri notices this is a tree only produced in the human realm and grows more suspicious of Iruma. Iruma bumps into her playing out the scenes the manga First Love Memories. She claims he is using human charms to make her fall in love with him. When Iruma picks up the book and recognizes it, she notices that he can comprehend the hidden artifact's language. Rather than turn him into her father, the chief of Demon Border Control, she sees this as an opportunity to learn more about the human artifacts. She asks him to read the book to her. To her surprise she ends up admiring the book even more, showing a soft side to her personality. While Iruma is busy reading to Omri, both Asmodeus and Clara begin to get on edge on why Iruma stopped hanging out with them. With a little guidance from Sabnok, they begin to tail Iruma. When seeing Azazel and Iruma enter a room, Clara begins to challenge Asmodeus into opening the door. Preoccupied to the commotion going on outside those doors, Iruma struggles to find out what his dream is, but is determined to get a higher rank after Omri mentions it. Asmodeus begins to lose control when he blinks, letting a huge wrecking ball blast through the room by Clara. In an attempt to seduce Iruma from Omri, Clara joins the prestigious Professor Rame known to teach students the art of seduction. Using the succubus ability called Sexy Scope, Rame is available to determine each student's score. Being the lowest score Rame's ever seen, she assigns special tasks just for her. Clara tries her best to understand all the knowledge and different ways to make a guy fall for you, from trying to use makeup along with posing in a certain way to make you appealing. These methods prove to be not so helpful in seducing Iruma. Clara walks home and is no longer upset after her family cheers her up. The following day we meet with Iruma explaining his goal is to move up a rank. Overcome with excitement, Asmodeus starts to let out all his emotions. He begins to point out that ranks have the ability to increase and decrease throughout the year during school exams or through competitions. The test they are granted first is a game of execution cannonball, commonly referred to as dodgeball in the human world. Lord Sullivan attempts to teach Iruma how to use the magic ring to win. However, Iruma is set on doing this by himself without the help of someone else's power. Charmed by Iruma's determination, he advises him to be trained from his butler Opera. Opera is unwilling to hold back for Iruma's safety during the fight. He is forced to not hold back, pushing Iruma to overcome his fears of dangerous situations and to learn to catch the ball. After the training with Opera begins the game of execution cannonball. The opposing team's knowledge of Iruma's evasive ability forces the other team to avoid him. Jazz steals the ball from Team B, which grants Sabnik to hit Carey and Kime out by disqualifying him from taking the ball to the other team's side. Clara begins to throw the other team off by producing random balls, forcing both teams to freak out. Annoyed by all the rowdy noises, Agaris knocks up every ball, revealing the demon symbol, kicking them both out of the game for not using their power on the ball. Iruma, being headstrong, forgets he was only taught on how to catch the ball. Seeing Iruma and distraught, Sabnok attempts to aid him. Unfortunately, he is met with defeat and gets kicked off the field by Asmodeus. The game proceeds slowly, getting out the remaining people, leaving only Asmodeus and Iruma left. Determined to not let Iruma accomplish his goal in a cheap manner, he throws the ball at his full potential. Overwhelmed by the courage from his training with Opera, he runs forward, which allows him to get a grasp of the ball. Powered by Asmodeus, Iruma knows he can't catch the ball without going out of the barrier. This forces him to throw the ball back, nicking Asmodeus' shirt, granting him the win and promoting up a badge to bat rank. The students of the Misfits class are then introduced to their new professor, Bars Robin, who teaches the class about familiars. The lesson goes over the importance of bonds between familiars and masters. Iruma, being considerate of Caligo, he tries to explain this would be a bad idea, but Robin uses the word please, making Iruma summon his familiar Caligo. The summoning goes as expected. Caligo, being infuriated, nearly kills the teacher. Iruma steps in, resulting in his familiar getting punished for disobeying his master. Wanting to leave this torment and humiliation, Caligo states he wants to undo the summoning, causing Robin to step in with the school's teacher guidelines written by Professor Caligo himself, ultimately refusing the request of terminating the summoning. Abiding by his rules, he requests that Iruma does his best and insists on getting top ranks, even if they have to go through a series of trust exercises. In the end, Iruma apologizes for summoning him. Caligo then asks why he turned down the opportunity to summon him against the guardian of the Cutthroat Valley. Iruma explains it was so neither the beast or Caligo would get hurt in the process. During lunch a loud alarm goes off. Confused Iruma asks Asmodeus what the alarm is for. He explains today is the day battlers have their chance to choose new recruits to join their own battler. These individuals are groups of people who have common interests or talents who wish to learn more or go up a rank through competitions. Wanting to try new things and move up a rank, Iruma and his friends set out to meet all kinds of battlers. After seeing the student body president herself hand out an invitation to Iruma, many people are shocked, including Iruma, who didn't know she was even a part of the student body, let alone its leader. Unwilling to say no, Iruma comes back with a stack of invitations from all kinds of battlers. Professor Caligo marks today as the first of 3 days of the trial period. All of his classmates are tempted and show interest in their groups. After talking with his classmates unsure of which battler he is going to choose, his ring glows and begins dragging him crashing into another student. Scared he seriously hurt the other student, he begins to worry until he reveals it is his medical condition that causes the blood to flow. The demon in the higher grade explains his necklace is probably the culprit of making the ring react. Iruma, wanting to control his ring, asks his grandpa Lord Sullivan to help in doing so. After altering the ring, he is reassured by his grandpa that it won't be dangerous. He says a spell letting out a ball of flame. Iruma now has the chance to change settings on the ring, limiting his mana output. The last setting releases all mana, so grandpa mentions it should only be used in extreme situations. Meanwhile, the student body council are carefully making preparations suiting Omri's wants as she is eager for Iruma to join. After hearing a loud bang, Iruma informs Amari he will not be attending to meet her today. Iruma checks on the loud bang, greeted by Kirio, the third-year student in charge of the magical apparatus battler, who is lying on the floor, due to a failed attempt of calibrating a magical tool. Iruma soon realizes a piece right next to his prototype. Thinking it is a puzzle, Iruma solves it. Kirio is shocked he completed that puzzle so fast on his first try, revealing that his battler is used to create magical items for demons who lack a ton of mana to be equal with regular demons. Iruma, interested in Kirio's goals and ambitions, asks him if he is allowed to join even if he has no mana. Kirio explains that if he also had no mana they would be similar in that regard, and he is already gifted in mechanics and techniques, so he would love for him to join. Wanting to join Iruma, both his friends Asmodeus and Clara join him in being the first members of the magical apparatus battler. The end of the trial period begins, forcing Omri to become upset Iruma never showed up after all the work she has gone through. Iruma barges into the room, startling Omri, explaining he is sorry he didn't come. Realizing she set up the room mimicking the book they read, she asks what he thinks. She is relieved he thought it was fantastic. Omri, thinking Iruma was going to join her battler, gets upset after hearing him join another battler, forcing him to explain the situation to her. Iruma finally gets to go home. Eager to tell his grandpa about his battler, asks Opera where he is. Opera states he is busy having the 13th dinner meeting and was asked to take pictures of Iruma as he prepares for the battler party. The 13th dinner holds very powerful demons including Amayan, Astaro, Behemoth and a few other members. It is discussed that there should be a new leader taking the missing Demon King's throne. The table begins to argue about who is fit for the throne. Among all the chaos, Henry then receives a photo of Iruma sent by Bale. The two great demons, Belial and Levi, begin arguing about who has the greatest grandchild when they get interrupted by Sullivan stating he now also has a grandchild. Confused Belial mentions he doesn't even have a child, so how could he have a grandchild? Sullivan mentions he used a life hack, skipping the bore of parenthood and going straight to grandchildren. After bragging about all their grandchildren, they start saying Sullivan should be the next Demon King, but he refuses since he is enjoying spoiling his grandchild and wouldn't have time for him anymore. Lord Sullivan remains the chair demon, ending the meeting. Henry walks in with guards from the Demon Border Control to take in Lord Sullivan in for questioning after being accused of illegally crossing into the human world. Thanks for watching, anime short and sweet. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe down below to my channel. See you next time.